Due to popular demand after our most recent video, Peep and I have decided we're taking over this channel. Welcome to Crocs in the Kitchen. I'm Jessica, and Brian's not here. But don't worry, he'll be back later to help me with the taste test portion of the video. So today's recipe was actually inspired by my love for baking. So before we switched to eating a whole food plant-based diet, I really loved to bake. I baked especially around the holidays. I made a ton of cookies and shared them with everybody, and it was really fun. Unfortunately, it also was probably one of the reasons why I weighed 285 pounds. So when we switched to eating this way, baking wasn't necessarily my number one priority to figure out because I knew I would, even if I made healthy things, I'd still overeat on them. But this season, I feel like I'm more comfortable. I've got a year and a half-ish almost under my belt of eating this way. And so I decided I would just start experimenting with different cookie recipes. So my original idea was, you know those peanut blossoms? It's like the Hershey recipe with the Hershey Kisses and the peanut butter cookie, and it's all covered in sugar and it's delicious. So my original inspiration was that cookie. Now, what I discovered, I tried a few different variations, and the first one I made ended up being like really, really dense. It was like a dense peanut butter cookie with chocolate on top, which was fine, but it's not that like flaky, fluffy peanut blossom that you get if you make the real thing. So I kind of decided to take this in a totally different direction. And I really like the idea of sweetening it with just dates. My previous version had some maple syrup in there, but I really love the flavor of the dates. And so it kind of ended up being more of a chewy bite thing than an actual cookie per se. So I'm going to call these my chocolate peanut butter cookie, in quotes, bites. And basically it's like chewy, it's got peanut butter, it's got oat flour, it's got chocolate, and it's just good. The first version I made, I would eat them and I would be like, okay, these are good, but I didn't want to eat the whole entire tray of them, which is probably a good thing in hindsight. These ones, when I eat one, I want to eat the whole tray. And so that's when I knew that I had a decent recipe to share with you guys. So I think the first thing we're going to do is go through all of the ingredients that you'll need, which, as I said, are very simple. So let's show you. So the first ingredient you'll need are some medjool dates. Obviously, you want to make sure you pit these. I use the ones from Aldi because they're really affordable and they're really good quality. I used 160 grams, which ended up being about 9 large ones for me. Up next, you're going to need some vanilla almond milk, a 1/4 cup of that. I actually make it super vanilla by adding a teaspoon of vanilla extract to it as well. And then your flour is going to be oat flour. Now, I like to make my own, so I have 1.5 cups of rolled oats, just the old-fashioned kind, and I'm going to put them in my Vitamix and make them into flour. You could also just start with pre-purchased oat flour if you want to go that route. Then you'll need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 cup of peanut butter. I have homemade peanut butter, and you can see it gets really creamy and delicious looking. Brian actually prefers this over just like any kind of store-bought peanut butter, but basically all I did was take just peanuts that are, what are they? They are roasted but unsalted peanuts, and I just took those and literally blitzed it up in my Vitamix. Now, it did take about 2 or 3 minutes of processing, and you do really have to go in with a tamper, so it can be a bit of a mess, but I really like making my own. But if you don't want to make your own, just find the least amount of ingredients. You don't want anything really added. You don't want added sugar or any of that kind of stuff. You really just need peanuts. That's all you need, just blitzed up peanuts. Last but not least is my favorite part, which is the chocolate. So I like to use these Lily's chocolate bars. They have an extremely dark chocolate, which is 85% cocoa, and they have a 70% cocoa extra dark. For this recipe, I like to use the extra dark when I'm just snacking on chocolate, which I never do, obviously. I eat the 85% cocoa one, but for this, I think the 70 goes really well with it, and it's not as it's a little bit less bitter, I guess you could say. This chocolate is vegan, and it's sweetened with stevia. Now, this recipe is not sponsored in any sort of way by Lily's. I'm just sharing with you my favorite product as far as chocolate goes on the vegan side, and it's got no sugar added, just the stevia, and it's really delicious. So I'm going to use the chocolate in 3 different ways. So I have it cut into the little rectangles that it's already scored into. And then I also have it melted. I need another spoon. I have it melted. Look at that. I just want to eat that right now. And then I have finally cut into just little squares. So these are like my little chocolate chunks. So I'm going to use it in a few different ways. You have some options with this recipe of how you want to put it all together at the end. But yeah, I think we've done enough chatting about it and the ingredients and everything. So let's show you how to put it all together. All right, so up first, am I talking really loud? I can't tell. Up first, you're going to make your oat flour. So of course I'm going to use my Vitamix, which is why I'm wearing my giant headphones for ear protection. And I'm going to take 1.5 cups of old-fashioned rolled oats and put them into my Vitamix. Whoa. Woo. All right, so you're going to basically just turn it on. That's basically it. You just need a few seconds. Let's see here. Alrighty, so this is my oat flour. It's just ground up oats. So I'm going to put this into my bowl. Oh, I guess I can take my headphones off so I can judge how loudly I'm talking. Oh, wow. The world sounds so much different with my headphones on. It's like just totally different. Okay, so before we do the next thing, let's do this thing. So we have our baking powder, and we're going to measure out 1/2 teaspoon of that and add that in. Now, I don't know if this step is really necessary, but I always loved the fact that when you baked, you're supposed to take all the dry ingredients and whisk them together because it just seems fun. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to whisk it. It just seems so nice and I don't know. I just like it. Whiskey, whiskey, whisk. I'm going to bring in my next tool, which is my food processor. All right, let's plug him in. Okay, so the food processor is going to help us get those dates into something that will not be chunky. I don't know. I think it's a date paste kind of thing is what it ends up being. But we are going to, I could open this, put the dates in here. Now these dates, I keep my dates frozen, so I throw them directly in the freezer, and I just put these, after I pitted them and washed them and everything, I just put them in the microwave for about 15 seconds just to soften them up just a slight bit, and they are ready to go. And they've also actually been sitting out for like an hour after that while we prepared and prepped and filmed the intro 85 times and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to add these to the food processor. Okay, now I'm going to blitz these up. So you just turn it on, and basically you're looking for it to kind of form into this giant ball of like date paste. Just a giant sticky date thing. Very official. So once it kind of all starts to just stick together, you can see, I'll get Mrs. Gingerbread back. So you can see it just kind of sticks together as this like ball of date goodness. That's when you know that it's all ready. So now we are going to add the almond milk, which if you remember, I added the vanilla to it. So it's like super vanilla almond milk. So we're gonna add that in here. Sorry, I'm showing you the back of the bowl instead of my pour. I'm not super graceful at this yet. I'll get there one day. Okay, is that all we need to add? Yes. Okay, so we add that and then we're gonna process it some more. Just gonna kind of, just a few seconds, that's just gonna kind of loosen it up a bit. So I like to add, you know how they always say like slowly add the dry mix, you know, and all that stuff. So keeping with that, I like to add about half of it in here. And then I'm going to process it again. Are you sensing a trend here? Just looking for it to start getting incorporated. So then we're gonna add the remaining oat flour baking powder mixture. Come on. There we go. So then you're just gonna blend it again. And basically, like I said, you're just looking for everything to be incorporated. This would probably be a good time to just kind of scrape down the sides a little bit. It's kind of, you can see it's forming into like this giant massive ball now. But just kind of make sure you're getting everything so you're not missing out on any of your ingredients. Okay, so this is the point where it has sort of started like forming into a ball again of like just everything's kind of sticking together. So I'm going to put this into my bowl, and there's going to be probably one main like clump, and then you're going to have to kind of scrape out the rest of it a little bit. So we're getting down to the final ingredients here. So we got it in our bowl, right? So this is what it looks like. You can see it's pretty thick, pretty sticky, but not too bad. Now we're going to add the peanut butter. All right, so we got all the peanut butter in there. Now, my next tool, which by the way, this would be a good moment to say that if you're ever curious about any of the products we use in our videos, we do have a new Amazon page where we have a list of all of our favorite products. Now, the thing about that page is if you click on that link and use that page, we do get a small like commission on any sales that go through that link. And I'm totally cool with if you just want to search Amazon for these products and not go through our link, that's totally cool. We use any proceeds that we get. It doesn't cost anything extra to you if you do that. And you use any of the proceeds that we get to buy stuff to make our channel better and continue making videos and all that stuff. So check the link in the description below for the Amazon list, and it has a lot of the other stuff that we use on our channel as well. But I will try to find this. This actually, my mom gave me this, and I wanted to use this. I have a fancy stand mixer, but I wanted to use this because this reminds me of baking cookies with my mom as a child, because although hers was like olive green colored, her original one, like all the appliances used to be. But she gave me this, and I do like using it from time to time. So I'm going to plug it in. Oh, this reminds me of the time. Hold on. There was one time I was making cupcakes, and my hair was like really long, and I got my hair in the like mixer and in the cupcake batter, and it was not a pretty sight. Like, yeah. Anyway. All right, so we're going to beat this. Start out a little bit slow and then increase your speed to high. So we're just gonna get it all incorporated. So you can see it's kind of crumbly now, like it's not necessarily coming together. It's pretty dry. So what I did was I added, at this point, if you notice that, you need more liquid, and it might be a little bit more liquidy or less, if just depending on your consistency of your peanut butter and all kinds of other factors. So who knows? But basically, I'm going to take a tablespoon of the almond milk that I used earlier and add it in there at this point. And then I will beat this, just put it on low again. The other good part about using a hand mixer is that you could always like lick the these. I mean, who didn't do that when they made like brownies or whatever as a kid? And the good thing about making this kind of recipe is all this stuff can be eaten raw anyway. So you can eat as much of the dough as you want. All right. Okay, so this is it. We could probably add a little bit more milk if we wanted, but I'm actually good with how that is. I'm gonna go with it. It's kind of sticking together. Looks like it'll form into nice little balls. So let's reset the stage. We'll be right back. And we're back. So my husband, Brian, just pointed out that my assistant forgot to preheat the oven. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on 375. Now it's time to roll these into balls. So I like to do about 1 inch is what I prefer. So you're just gonna kind of form it and then roll it. And a little bit more. It should make about 24. Sometimes mine only does 22, just depends on how big you make them or how much dough you accidentally eat while you're testing it, maybe. So after you've rolled them into balls, you can go ahead and just start baking them, or you can get a little fancy if you want. So what I've done is I've broken some of my chocolate bars, like I showed you earlier, into these little squares. And I'm gonna take half of these, which I only ended up with 20. It just depends how big you make them. This is kind of the size I like to do. But I'm gonna take half of them and stuff them. So I'm just gonna take this, put it in here, and then close it up again, and then re-roll it closed. And so then half of them will have a nice little fun chocolate surprise in the center. All right, so just remember, if you do put chocolate in some, remember which ones have the chocolate in there, because the other ones that don't have chocolate, you're gonna put chocolate on the top of. So I'm going to put these in my oven once it gets preheated. And then I'm going to take them out and I'll show you what they look like. But it's going to take about 9 minutes. You just want to go until the bottom starts getting a little bit brown. So you might want to, after about like 8 minutes, maybe just check one and see how brown the bottom is, because they can get burnt on the bottom pretty quickly. So I like to go about 9 minutes, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so once you get it out of the oven, basically, like I said, you're looking for the bottoms to just start to turn brown like that. They do go really quickly, so check them because this is a difference of like a minute or two can make a huge difference. But basically, immediately once you get them out of the oven, the ones that you did not stuff with chocolate, you're gonna wanna take your little chocolate bars and press them down immediately. All right, so the ones that you press the chocolate into, those chocolate bars are gonna melt a little bit, and then as they cool, they're gonna kind of reset, but they're still gonna be a little bit softer, and it's just gonna be the perfect chocolate punch for the cookies. But I do like eating them hot when they're kind of melty, and that's super good. These ones, we already have chocolate inside of, so what I'm gonna do is take my melted chocolate, which all I did was take the chocolate and put it in just the chocolate bar. I didn't add anything to it. I just microwaved it in 15-second increments of about 30 seconds total and stirred in between until it got to this nice consistency. So I'm just going to take this little spoon and I'm going to drizzle over them. But actually, I'm going to move them to the cooling rack first. So let's do that. I really like these baking trays that I have. I'll link to this specific baking tray. It seems to cook things very evenly when you're baking on this specific kind of tray that I use. And then just move it all to the cooling rack. And that is everything. So you can get as creative as you want with these. You could dip them in the chocolate. You could, do whatever you want, but I like to just do a couple of different variations, and you have a nice tray of cookies and, well, cookie bites, as I like to call them. And they're super tasty. The only part is just try not to eat the whole tray. I did freeze some of mine. That seems to help me keep from eating a bunch of them. And they will just, if you just let them thaw at room temperature, they will taste super delicious even a few weeks down the road. So let's get Brian back in here so we can try these out. Peep and I baked.
Oh, nice.
You want to try some?
Sure.
So we have our cookies. These are actually ones that I made last night because the ones that I just made are going to be photographed and all that. So check out our blog at crocsinthekitchen.com, and you can check out our website. There's a link in the description below, and you'll get the whole recipe with all the amounts and photos and all that exciting stuff.
Mm-hmm. She puts a lot of time and effort into those blog posts, so go check them out.
Are you ready to try it?
Yes, let's try it. Which one first?
I don't know. You choose.
Let's go for this one.
So, okay, we're going to go for the ones that do not have chocolate inside. They have the chocolate bar on the top.
Nice. I like that. It's not too sweet. It's got that bitterness from the dark chocolate, which, I'm not huge on dark chocolate, but that works really well because it balances. But it's chewy. And I get what you mean by it's not really like a cookie, but they're kind of like cookie bites.
It's a cookie bite.
It's a cookie bite. Oh. All right. Well, so far you're batting 1,000.
I do like the fact that they're chewy.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes with cookies, I feel like you just eat them and then they're just gone. And this you can kind of enjoy, you know.
Yeah. It's more like an interesting little baked treat.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, you ready to try?
Yes.
I like these ones because they have the hidden chocolate surprise inside.
Yup.
And actually, these ones that we're eating, I did an experiment and froze them overnight to see how the freezing would do, and I think it went well.
All right.
Are you ready?
Go for it. Mm-hmm. Got the chocolate in there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Mmm. I think I like these a little bit better. I don't know why. I just do. All good stuff.
Yeah, so I took these out of the freezer and microwaved them for like 10 seconds. That's why the chocolate's a little melty.
Mmm.
Perfect.
Great job.
Thank you.
Now, I know she said this in the beginning, that she loves to bake, and that is absolutely true. In the past, she would just make a ton of cookies, you know, for holidays and stuff like that. And absolutely fantastic. She makes amazing cookies. And so to see something like this, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can come up with in the future, because this was entirely her recipe. I had nothing to do with this one because baking, it just eludes me. I don't know how to do it. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to try some more things out because I still haven't been able to, like, I still haven't done a cookie, you know, the cookie kind of cookie. I think everything kind of turns out more dense, and so that's something I'm definitely going to work on, trying to figure out how to get that fluffy kind of, you know, but yeah, I think I'm excited to experiment. Unfortunately, I feel like I can't experiment a ton just because I will eat like the entire tray of whatever I make, and so it's, yeah.
That I get.
So I did want to talk about the chocolate for a second. I know I talked about it earlier, and I know I talk about chocolate all the time. Chocolate is my favorite. But, so I use these Lily's chocolate bars. Like I said, they're sweetened with stevia. The thing is, if you can't find these, and you don't have these, I will put links below on where you can buy them. But if you can't find these, they do sell them at Whole Foods and like a couple of local grocery stores I've seen them at. But if you can't find them, you can use any of your favorite vegan chocolate bars. So if you guys have, you could even use like vegan chocolate chips and just do like the chocolate drizzle, stuff some of the chocolate chips in the inside, that kind of thing. So whatever kind of vegan chocolate you can find. Now, I don't like to use, you know, with refined sugar and all that kind of stuff. So I do really like these Lily's ones just because they don't have any of that. But yeah. If you don't have that chocolate, don't fear, just find some other vegan chocolate.
You can find photos of these fine cookie bites on Facebook and Instagram. So please go there and, you know, like and follow us wherever you can find us on social media. We already told you to check out the website, so that's always a good place to go. Also, if you have not subscribed, please do so and click the bell that is right next to it so you can get all of the notifications whenever we post a new video.
You could be the 40,000th subscriber.
Yes, that one's coming up like right quick, which is pretty cool. But I'm glad that you're getting back into your baking and making some tasty treats for us.
Yeah, basically, if I ever do my own video on this channel, it's probably going to be something sweet. So I've done the nice cream, the hot chocolate, and now the cookie bites.
Yeah, how about a pie? In all these years, she's never baked me a pie. Not once. And I love pie. Pie is like my favorite dessert.
Sorry.
Either way, folks, I think that's all I got.
That's all I got.
We will see you next time on Crocs in the Kitchen. Bye.